So, ow, I just hit my hand with my ring. Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. Today we are unboxing Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck, so let's get started. So this deck actually arrived last night and I resisted the temptation to open it because I wanted to save it to do with all of you. So here is the box. It's quite a large box. On the back are examples of some of the cards and you can probably see that they have this kind of, I don't know what you call it, like it's shiny. Whereas the rest of the box is completely matte except for, I think, the word Oracle cards, Beyond Lemuria, and then obviously the creator's name, Izzy Ivy, at the bottom here. Izzy has created a pocket-sized version, which obviously is slightly more condensed for the write-up and what each card means. I preferred the idea of a full deck, and that's what we're going to be unboxing today. So this deck was released in March 2020, I believe, and I saw it around the same time I was looking to order the Modern Witch Tarot, and at the time I really liked it, but I really wanted to order a tarot deck at the time, so I kind of put this to one side. And then recently a friend had been sharing posts of this deck on Instagram and I was like, yeah, I definitely really like the artwork, I like the colors, I like the energy of the deck, so I'm definitely going to get that, which actually this was a gift technically. So my mum got me this because I'm going to be helping her decorate her entire house in the next couple of weeks, so it's kind of like a pre thank you for all the painting and the decorating that we're going to be doing, so I'm excited. So thanks to my mum for getting this for me. So let's have a look inside. Okay, so it's a plain box on the inside, which I kind of feel is a bit of a shame. They could have done something interesting with that, kind of like the Starseed Oracle and Work Your Light. And then I guess just a protective piece of paper. Then you have the guidebook immediately on the top. So let's just tip everything out. Again, a plain background to the box. I feel like that could have been a color or a piece of artwork or a design. I'm sure it's more expensive to do that, but I do think that would have been quite nice. So on the back of the box, it doesn't actually tell you how many cards are in there, but there are actually 56 in total, if you're wondering. And this is the guidebook. I will do some close-ups for you guys. Let's see. So everything is in black and white inside the guidebook, and I don't really mind that, I'll be honest with you. I do think that it's lovely to have a colourful guidebook. However, I don't think it's necessary. To me, the cards are what I'm interested in, and I think the guidebook is absolutely fine in black and white. So it's quite a large guidebook, which is great. It's got loads of information for each card, and it has different spreads and layouts that you can look at and how to use the cards. It talks a bit about Lemuria and Izzy's connection to Lemuria, so it's definitely got some really good information inside. And then you have beautiful design on the back, which I'm going to presume is one of the cards, so we'll find out exactly what that is. So let's just take a look at the cards. I would also say that the edges of the deck are not gilded. I definitely prefer that in a deck. I think a lot of people like it, but if you're somebody who isn't interested or doesn't really care about the edge being gilded, then you may really enjoy this deck. Something that I do think you'll notice about this deck is there's a lot of detail in the artwork, and I think that's really interesting because there's so much symbolism going on. So you'll definitely find that the more you use it, you'll probably find the more you can interpret and see different meanings, and different things will pop up for different people and resonate when you're giving readings to other people or to yourself. So let's just go through some of the cards. So we have the Earth Star Chakra, the Root Chakra, the Sacral Chakra, the Solar Plexus, the Heart, the High Heart. Okay, so the image on the back of the deck is the High Heart Chakra. If you're unfamiliar with the High Heart Chakra, it is said that the High Heart Chakra is essentially obviously between the throat and the heart, and it is essentially how you can access the Akashic Records, your soul, your higher self, whatever it is you believe in. So it's a great portal for accessing things. The Throat Chakra, Third Eye, and Crown, and then the Soul Star. So that's cool. So she's included all of the main 9 chakras. If you are used to working with the main 7 chakras, you might really enjoy the addition of the Soul Star and the Earth Star Chakra. Then we have Ether, Water, Air, Earth, and Fire. So she's obviously going through the different elements, which again I think is really cool. I like that she's included that. Then we have regular oracle cards, and the only thing I'm going to say about this is it's very obvious which pieces of art are taken from a canvas and kind of shrunk to fit the size of the card. That's the only thing I would say. I do think perhaps they could have softened that a little bit, because even though it's nice to know that it was all hand painted, I do think it would have been good if they had just maybe taken some of the canvas. You know, you can just see where the paint is like printed on that part of the canvas, and it just looks a bit speckled almost. I probably would have smoothed it out, because you can't really see it, say, on this card, but then if you look at Awakened Awareness, it's just around that eye. To me, you can really see that canvas texture, which, yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that. I do like how she draws people. I think that she's done a really nice job there, because she has made it look like a recognizable humanoid shape, but at the same time it doesn't have the same exact look as we do now, and I think that's quite important, because firstly, that is very much the truth of Lemurians, and secondly, it also means that pretty much anybody could resonate with these cards. I'm mostly seeing feminine beings. And then we have the back of each card, which again, I think she's chosen the high heart chakra by the looks of it. Or no, something's, yeah, similar-ish. Again, it's gone for the black border. I'm wondering why she's chosen that, because I feel like if anything, it kind of darkens all the other colors in here, and possibly maybe she tried it with other colors and just it didn't look as good. When you are designing a deck, you do kind of play around with things and think, okay, actually that looks better, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So she might have tried it with a white border, or she might have tried flooding it to the edge and actually found that maybe it looked a bit too much, so she gave it a border. I think probably on the back of a deck, I don't really think you necessarily need a border, because it's the space where you can just completely let go. Every card's going to look the same at the back, so you can kind of have a bit of fun with it. Whereas I think it makes a lot of sense to have a border to say what the card name and number is at the bottom. I think that's really useful. If you just try and put it into the rest of the card, it just, you sometimes can't see it, or it loses it. I've also seen decks where they just put the number at the top of the card, and again, it's not something I prefer. I do think that it's nice that she's included the name here at the bottom. So I do kind of wonder what it would look like if it were a white, and I'm not really somebody who actually likes white, but I just find that the black is really darkening the rest of the paintwork. Like if you take it off like that, it suddenly doesn't look as dark. You can really see like the lighter colors. That's just probably me though. You might look at it completely differently, which I think is really important. Also, let's talk about the size of the deck as well. It's huge. I would definitely say that this is quite a bit bigger than my other cards. I should have brought my other cards with me, but there we go. I'll see if I can do a side-to-side image for you and insert that for you so you can see the size, but it's definitely enormous. I mean, in terms of shuffling, you can obviously do it, but if you've got small hands like me, you may wish to turn it the other way and shuffle it this way. I know some people prefer that. I'm not the best shuffler, let's be honest. I do really like the artwork. I just think it would have made more sense if they had blended out, or kind of, I don't know the right word, you know, used Photoshop to just Photoshop out the texture of the canvas, because then it just looks like all they've done is take a photo from a canvas and just stick it on a piece of card. And I do think that even though that's what you tend to do for a lot of artwork, I just think it's not really a texture I would expect to see in a deck. And I think it's such a shame they haven't put anything around the edges. Again, that's my preference, but I think that would be nice if they had included that, especially because I can see on the side here, like where the print has kind of caused a black ink line across some of the deck as well. But again, I don't know what her budget was for this. I don't know what her desire was with this. I don't know if this is, I think she has another deck, the Intuitive Child Oracle. So I don't know if she's chosen to do these things, or if she's been told, you know, to do them a certain way. I don't know. So I'm just going to shuffle the deck thoroughly and tune into it, as I always recommend that you do. You can also sage it as well. I'm just going to set a prayer today, because I feel like this deck, because it's connected to Lemuria, it's connected more to the light. So I think a prayer will be more than enough. So I'm just going to shuffle and then I'll pull some cards for us. Okay, so I've just been through the guidebook to see if there is a prayer or an incantation included to tune into and activate the cards, and there isn't that I can see anyway. That might be because Izzy is more invested in recommending that you tune into your intuition and what feels right for you. So that's what I've done. I haven't read the guidebook fully, so if something else turns up, I will of course share that with you. But I do think Lemuria was very much about your intuition and your wisdom from your star home or your soul in general. So I do think she's probably encouraging you to step into that, which I think is really nice actually. The cards are also very matte. I forgot to mention that. They're very matte and they're very smooth in being matte. But it does mean that when I was shuffling them into piles to separate all the numbers so that they weren't all you know, still in order. It was slightly harder to do initially because they're new. Obviously over time, as I use them, they will of course become easier to work with and to shuffle. So there are some really interesting spreads that she has included, but for today I have chosen a 3-card spread that we are going to look through. I'll pop it here for you, but card 1 will be what should I be aware of, card 2 will be what can I grow from, and card 3 will be where should I put my energy. So let's see what shows up. Let me just tune in so that this is for the highest good for anybody who is watching this, everything that they need to know, hear and understand in this moment. I love doing card readings, and I love doing it with my friends as well, so it's so nice you guys could join me. Okay, that feels good. So let's see, I always split the deck with my left hand. That's just how I like to work, and then I choose the top 3 cards. Let's see what is going on. Okay, so card 1 is what should I be aware of? And what's come through is card for the violet flame, which is really beautiful. In fact, let's just talk about the imagery in this for a moment. So there's a great big eye at the top, and it looks like it's almost this element of spirit kind of pouring down into the palm of this being's hands. And I feel like this being is actually quite androgynous. There's a feminine and a masculine quality to the look of this being, so it's up to you how you interpret it. And this being is holding something in their hand that is dipping into this pool beneath them, surrounded by crystals. And it looks as though they have beautiful wings as well. You can just see them on the edge. And then whatever they're holding kind of reaches up and connects with the back of their head and then reaches high up. And there's some butterflies, and I think there's some birds and some stars as well. So let's see what that is, because I know about the violet flame. I know that that's a very cleansing, powerful, transformational flame, but let's just see what the interpretation is for the card, because I'll be interested to see. It says, your psychic toolkit, recentering practices, deepen your energetic awareness, clearing your aura, healthy energetic boundaries, protection, removing trauma from your field, maintaining a high vibration, and rebalancing after times of raised frequency. That's really interesting actually, because yes, when you do go up really high into the ethers, when you come back down, you can be really quite spaced out. And I think it's really important to remember that even though it's wonderful to travel up there, you are here. This is where you are right now. So it's important to be fully present, fully embodied and grounded, especially after you do any work. And that's meditation, that's, you know, seeing someone for a reading or a clearing or some healing, whatever it is, it's really good to come back down. So I do find actually a practice that's great is to eat like root vegetable crisps, or to have maybe an earthy herby tea like chamomile or lemon and ginger, something like that will just be really good for grounding you and bringing you back into your body after. Or you can even have like a chicory coffee or something that's very root vegetable based is great when you've done really high healing or higher chakra work. So let's see what the interpretation for the card is. As we deepen our spiritual path, step out of illusory constructs and become self-realized, empowered beings, life may present us with more opportunities to grow than before. When we explore our innate healing ability, we may experience our expanding consciousness as deeply blissful and illuminating. Our glimpses of higher awareness can be followed by periods of intensity as we return to normal. So she's kind of saying that when you first awaken spiritually and you connect to the spiritual and you start meditating or going for healing or whatever it is you're doing, like maybe it's a sound bath or something, as you step into that, you're just loving being in those higher realms. But then when you come back here, you kind of feel a bit of a loss or a bit of a rejection towards what it is that you're experiencing in your everyday life. As we expand our consciousness, our empathy may increase. That definitely happens. That definitely happens. And I think that's important because actually, even in times of late Lemuria, people were able to communicate telepathically. So you could really feel and tune into what people were feeling, what Earth was feeling, what the plants were feeling, what the animals were feeling quite a lot more deeply. And so when you awaken to that, especially if you're connected to a past life in Lemuria, and I mean to a certain extent as well, Atlantis, or if you're a starseed, telepathy is something that is used a lot more in higher realms. There isn't necessarily the need to be verbal, which is ironic because I love talking, but at the same time I think that just it sounds really great to just be able to, right? Did you get that? So maintaining energetic sovereignty will allow for heartfelt exchanges with healthy boundaries. So what she's essentially saying is understand your energy and be able to differentiate it from you to another person, which is the strongest spiritual practice you can have, especially as an empath. If you haven't tried my meditation for empaths, please do. I will pop that in the description box for you, because it's so important to have energetic boundaries, but also not to absorb and take things in. So I would definitely recommend that meditation for you. Work with the violet flame to transmute anything that is not for your highest good into love. The flame is simple to visualize and a powerful tool that can be used. Essentially, that's a very long-winded way of saying that if you don't cleanse your energy, it can become, you know, chock-a-block with things. So just take the time to call upon the violet flame, visualize it coming around you, and you can just either visualize it going up or down. It's kind of up to you how you interpret and tune into it, and just imagine it really burning anything up that doesn't belong there, almost like when you put a piece of paper into a fire and it burns up, that kind of thing. So that's basically what this card is saying, is maybe there's something you need to clear from your energy, and therefore call upon the violet flame to do that, visualize it around you and release it. That's card reading 1. So that is the answer to what should I be aware of. Be aware of things that are in your energy that do not belong there and clear them immediately. I feel like I'm kind of dressed as the violet flame today. Actually, this is probably more, I don't know, it is kind of, it's darker than it looks on camera, but it is kind of a violet lilac color. Okay, so card 2 is what can I grow from? So let's see. So it's unique gifts, which I think this is a really interesting piece of artwork. This is definitely a very strong star being, so I'll be interested to see this. And there's also what I would argue is light language around the card, and also a strong connection to the heart center as well. That looks like the heart chakra area. Yeah, let's see what is going on here. Your superpowers, a sense of purpose, the meaning behind your quirks, exploring your interests, shortcomings as unique undiscovered skills. I think what she's trying to say there is anything that's kind of you're interested in or that is quirky about you, explore that, because that could be a gift that you haven't really tapped into yet. Your gift or purpose may be something that you enjoyed immensely as a child but did not bring into your adult life. Perhaps there is an array of shoulds holding you back from doing what you love. When there is enjoyment in what you do, you can give more to it. It lights you up when you think or talk about it, and you need less in your life as you are fulfilled through doing it. When you don't do it, you might feel ungrounded or in low energy. I think the meaning of this card is quite straightforward. It's essentially saying that look into what you enjoyed as a child. There could be a hidden message in what you enjoyed as a child, and maybe it's time to look back at that. So I've actually been doing that myself recently, like tuning back into my inner child. So I think this card is actually asking you to have a bit of fun, to play, to see what you enjoyed when you were younger. Maybe it was art, maybe it was baking, maybe it was reading, and maybe it's inviting you to tune back into those, to try them, to see if there's something in there that you feel so passionately about, you can bring it forward as your purpose. It lights you up, you feel good, and then when you're lit up, other people around you are lit up by that enthusiasm and that passion. So basically, take some time to connect with your inner child, or passions that you had when you were younger, or even passions that you have now, and maybe you just haven't been making time for them. So this card is answering the question of what can I grow from? And the answer is you can grow from your inner child and your gifts, and you can begin to grow and share them, because that's ultimately what you're here to do. The final card answers the question of where should I put my energy? And this is the card of freedom. I really like that. So this card is interesting. You have all the eyes on the wings of the butterfly, and then I would say kind of geometric shape in the middle. And then it almost looks like it's just bursting out of something. I mean, below you can kind of see a few leaves, and then these bubbles are expanding around it, which to me is almost as if it's broken free. It's spread its wings, it's broken free from something. Where can you spend your energy? Let's have a look at what this card is saying. Living the life you love, liberation as a shift in perspective, the many facets of freedom, inviting enjoyment and inspiration. Freedom means living as you choose with your wings and heart open, able to direct your reality as you want. The quest for freedom in one form or another seems innate. Bring a deeper sense of freedom to a situation. A limitation may be a state of mind. A shift of perspective can help bring a sense of lightness and choice. Also consider what freedom looks like to you in the bigger picture of your life. If you're feeling stifled in an environment, it is up to you to make a change. Add pleasurable moments or practices that cultivate a sense of greater freedom into your everyday life. So this card is essentially saying, where should you spend your energy? Well, on cultivating a sense of freedom, of enjoyment. If you're feeling as though your focus is really on your work, where can you bring some play into that? Is there a practice you can bring in every day, or is there just somewhere you can go, or someone you can call, or someone you can visit, that you can just have freedom from what feels like a constraint? And also, is your mindset limited? I think is also quite important to take a look at. And can you bring some freedom from an old way of thinking, an old pattern or an old belief system? Can you clear that and bring a bit more freedom into your life so that you can therefore manifest more freedom and joy into your everyday life? So that is our card reading from this deck. In summary, I would say this is a lovely deck. It has a really beautiful, gentle, divine feminine energy and quality to it. The artwork is exquisite. She has done a fantastic job, and it's obviously her creative outlet, which I think is beautiful to witness and receive the love that she's put into all of these images and artwork. I do think that it would have been better if there were a little bit more attention to detail. Maybe in the inside of the box could have had some artwork, or even just a message, even if it just said something like, you know, you are divine, or you are loved, or anything. I don't know. It just could have been really nice to have something inside here, even if they just printed it in there, just like a white piece of text. And I do really wish that the deck had gilded edges. That is my preference completely, but I just think it would give it a slightly nicer finish. That's just my preference though. You may love the deck exactly as it is. So yeah, I think she's done a fantastic job of channeling the energy and I want to say the voice of Lemuria for some reason, so we'll go with that, the voice of Lemuria. So yeah, I'm excited to use these and tune into them and see what kind of beautiful readings they bring forth. If you have this deck and you enjoy using it, or if you're thinking about getting this deck, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you in next week's video. Hey. Do 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 do.